In the heart of Delta State, where the sun rises over the verdant landscape of Otowodo, Agbraha-otor, the village awakens to the melodies of nature. The dawn breaks through a canopy of towering coconut trees, casting long shadows that dance across the dew-kissed earth. The village is a place where time seems to move at its own pace, a haven cradled by nature's embrace. The air is rich with the scent of ripening mangoes, and the rustling palm leaves sing lullabies to the streams that weave their way through the fertile farmlands. This land, blessed by the hands of the gods, is a tapestry of life, where every tree, stream, and stone holds a story. In this tranquil setting lived Oshikpra, a man whose very name commanded respect. At 55, Oshikpra was a figure who embodied both strength and wisdom. His tall, lean frame moved with the quiet confidence of someone who had seen and conquered many battles. His skin, darkened by the sun and hardened by years of toil, bore the scars of encounters with forces that most would rather forget. His eyes, deep and penetrating, seemed to hold the secrets of the universe, and his voice, low and measured, could calm even the most troubled soul. He was the village's native doctor, a guardian who stood between his people and the darkness that threatened to consume them. Oshikpra's home was a modest compound, nestled at the edge of the village where the forest began to thicken. The walls of his house were adorned with symbols and charms, each one a testament to the spirits he had communed with, the battles he had fought, and the lives he had saved. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of herbs and incense, the shelves lined with jars containing roots, barks, and powders. A wooden staff, intricately carved with ancient symbols, leaned against the wall, his trusted companion in the physical and spiritual battles he fought. Here, in this sanctuary, Oshikpra prepared for the challenges that lay ahead, always vigilant, always ready. For as long as anyone could remember, Oshikpra had been a stalwart defender against evil. He was not just a healer of the body, but a warrior of the spirit. When crops failed, when children fell ill with inexplicable fevers, or when nightmares plagued the dreams of the innocent, the villagers would come to Oshikpra, their hopes resting on his broad shoulders. He was known far and wide, not only for his healing, but for his ability to confront the malevolent forces that sought to disrupt the harmony of the land. His knowledge of the spiritual realm was unparalleled, his connection to the ancestors deep and unshakable. He was a man of rituals, of sacrifices made with precision, and prayers whispered in the dead of night. His reputation as a staunch opponent of evil was unchallenged, and this made him both revered and feared. But in the shadows of Otowodo, resentment festered. The village, though blessed with beauty, was not immune to the presence of darker forces. Witches and wizards, creatures of the night who thrived on chaos and destruction, had long eyed Oshikpra with bitterness. They despised his strength, his purity of heart, and the awe he stood in their path. For years, they had operated in the shadows, spreading their poison subtly, weakening the bonds of the community, and whispering lies into the ears of the weak. Oshikpra had thwarted their plans time and time again, driving them back with his incantations and unyielding faith. But now their hatred had grown into something more dangerous, an all-consuming desire for revenge. The witches and wizards began to weave their plots with patient malice. They knew they could not confront Oshikpra directly. His power was too great, his resolve too strong. So they turned to subterfuge, sowing seeds of discord among the villagers. Crops that had once flourished under Oshikpra's protection began to wither inexplicably. Streams, once clear and life-giving, turned muddy and dry. Livestock died in the night, their bodies marked with strange symbols, and a creeping sickness began to spread through the village. The people, once steadfast in their trust of Oshikpra, began to doubt. Whispers filled the air. Perhaps Oshikpra's power was waning. Perhaps he had angered the gods. Perhaps he was no longer the man they believed him to be. Oshikpra felt the weight of these whispers, but he did not waver. He knew that the darkness was closing in, that the forces he had fought against for so long were making their move. The nights grew longer, the air thicker with tension, and the forest around his home seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. Oshikpra spent these nights in meditation, communing with the spirits of his ancestors, seeking their guidance and strength. He prepared his herbs, mixed his powders, and reinforced the protective charms that hung around his compound. He knew that the final confrontation was near. The village was bathed in twilight. Oshikpra received a visitor, an elder from the village. His face drawn with fear came to Oshikpra's home. "The witches and wizards gather in the forest tonight," the elder whispered, his voice trembling. "They have called upon something dark, something old. They mean to end you, Oshikpra." Oshikpra nodded, his face calm. He had expected this. The time had come to face the darkness once and for all. With steady hands he gathered his staff, his pouch of sacred herbs, and his chalk. He painted his face with symbols of protection, each stroke deliberate, each line a prayer. He lit a fire in the center of his compound, its flames dancing high, casting eerie shadows on the walls. As the fire burned, he chanted in the ancient tongue, calling upon the spirits of his ancestors, asking for their guidance and strength. The air around him crackled with energy, the spirits responding to his call. When he was ready, Oshikpra stepped out into the night. The village was silent, the only sound